And I had seen this, and I was like, okay, yeah, we can check this out. So this one is top 5 rifles that changed the world. It's a little bit of a short video, but this could be fun because when we think of, a rifle that is iconic in our eyes, there's probably a very great variety of what we consider as an iconic rifle. So I'm curious, and again, this is one channel's interpretation of top 5 rifles that changed the world. So let us see what TFB TV considers to be the top 5 rifles that changed the world. Some of your favorites may be on here. Some of them may not.
Bang,
so
bang, 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 bang.
Let's find out.
Hey guys, it's Alex C with TFB TV. Small arms have long been a
I
very
better turn this
tangible
up.
symbol of not only a soldier's individual might, but have also symbolized the strength of an entire nation.
Okay, how well are you guys hearing that? He sounds like he's talking very low. Are you guys able to hear him? Like, I will crank the volume up as much as possible. Okay, I'm gonna max out the volume as much as possible. Hopefully it's enough.
Thus, the great nations and empires of the world have constantly tried to improve the humble infantry rifle, and it's easy to point to a few instances when small arms have truly changed the world. It's quite hard to choose only 5, but let's have a look. First up is the French Model 1886 Lebel rifle. While not much to...
Hey, hang on. Let me try this. Alright, tell me if this is any better.
look at, the gun literally overnight made every other rifle in the world obsolete for one reason.
So is this any better?
It's quite hard to choose only 5, but let's have a look.
Okay.
First up is the French Model 1886 Lebel rifle. While not much to look at, the gun literally overnight made every other rifle in the world obsolete for one reason. The new cartridge relied on an invention that doubles effective range and greatly increases velocity: smokeless powder. This shift is so radical that it plunged the world into an arms race to catch up to the French, who now had the greatest rifle the world had ever seen.
Oh, so this is the first non-black powder rifle. Huh? And the French came up with it. I'd say this is a rifle that indeed changed the world by going from black powder to smokeless. And, smokeless cartridge casings. Huh?
The Lebel's cartridge was rimmed and used an 8mm Spitzer projectile. The rounds were held in a channel under the barrel, and you may think that storing pointy bullets in line with one another may lead to problems, but the crafty French found a solution. The area around the primer pocket had a recess that allowed the bullet tip of the trailing round to rest perfectly without impacting the primer.
Yeah, they used to
Loading
be.
the Lebel is similar to a modern shotgun. Rounds are individually clicked in and retained by a small tab. This is a somewhat tedious process, and I can imagine under stress it would be incredibly difficult. To chamber a round, you need to pull back the bolt with some force to trip the cartridge elevator up. The shock factor in 1886 would be akin to a rival nation today releasing a viable laser blaster. Thus, the Lebel earned a spot on this list for its incredibly innovative cartridge that sent the world into a frenzy trying to catch up.
What?
Next up is a rifle that is often regarded as perfect. The significance of this rifle almost cannot be overstated, and I often have a hard time trying to convey its importance. This is the Mauser 98, which is possibly the most important rifle the world has ever seen. More soldiers have entered into battle with a Mauser than any other shoulder arm ever invented. To quote Ian Hogg, the Mauser 98 was Mauser's masterpiece. Every little improvement that...
Yeah, I mean, I've heard the Mauser 98. I mean, this is absolutely this is an iconic rifle. This is absolutely an iconic rifle.
Mauser could think of. All sorts of tiny details were added together, and they formed what you may call the ultimate bolt-action system. And even today, companies are still making rifles with that bolt action. It's possible that over 100 million were made, and if you count derivatives, that number is much higher. The 98 was safe, stout, reliable, powerful, and universal. Its use of stripper clips, Paul Mauser's invention dating back to the 1880s, allowed for rapid reloading. The action also facilitates quick and smooth operation. There are many variants of the 98, and perhaps the most famous is the Karabiner 98 Kurz, or K98K, employed by Nazi Germany. The K98K is simply a Mauser 98 carbine with a few minor differences. It is worth noting, however, that not all Mausers are K98s. I say this because anytime I allude to a Mauser, people always say K98 for some reason, even if the rifle is not a carbine.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the difference other than the shorter stature. Look at the windage, I think that's windage, or is that elevation? That's probably more elevation. You know, you're seeing severe differences there, and it's also obviously shorter. Hence why it's carbine.
Nearly every bolt-action rifle in production today uses the 98 system in some way or another. And of course, Mauser is still making 98s in Safari calibers. This Kimber 8400 is essentially a 98 with the claw extractor and even has the 3-position safety. I could talk about the Mauser and its influence for a very long time, and I wish I could because it seems that my generation has never understood that it was the most important long arm in the world for 50 years. But I think this brief aside may suffice. Next up...
Okay, Falcon. I hit the wrong one. Oops. The buttons are right next to each other. Don't hate me.
Up is a true American classic that proved entire armies could be armed effectively with semi-automatic firepower.
Oh, hang on, let me back it up because we're in our favorite.
Next up is a true American classic that proved entire armies could be armed effectively with semi-automatic firepower. The M1 Garand rifle. The Garand was not even close to being the first semi-automatic rifle employed in military service, but it does have the distinction of being the first to serve as a nation's main battle rifle. Before the Garand, semi-autos filled specialty roles or were too costly to produce. The Garand not only broke the high cost barrier, but showed that an individual soldier could make effective use of semi-automatic firepower. It functions with a relatively simple rotating bolt actuated by a cam track on the rifle's operating rod. The sights are excellent, and loading is achieved by tossing in a clip containing 8 rounds of ammunition. This rifle is of course famous for the harmonious ping of the ejecting clip. Go. Alright, that's enough of that. Let's check out our...
I mean, not only that, correct me if I'm... Kitty! Hi, Kitty! Welcome, Raiders! Welcome, Raiders!
No duel? What do you mean, no duel? This is unaccept? What do you mean?
Hi, Kitty! How was your stream? Did you have a good stream? Hi, Commoner. Oh, Kitty! Oh, my. Good. I'm glad you had a good stream. And Kitty, guess what? I forget who it was that. I think it was Corey. When Corey talked to you, I'm talking to your guy who did up your emotes.
No, that was indeed
gonna see if I can get some emotes of my own made up by him.
Oh my
God. I can't wait. I'm talking to him now, trying to get lay the groundwork to try and see about getting some some made up, and I can't wait for him. So, hi Buntulu. Gonna be busy? Why? Yeah, I mean, Kitty, the art looks great, and I'm really excited. Like, I sent a message to him last night, waiting for saying, hey, I want some. And he responded back today because I think big time zone differences. And we're kind of like doing like a delay back and forth, but I've already, I've given him pictures of my model, and I just told him, what it is I'm looking for, and hopefully he gets back to me probably tomorrow, and hopefully I can get him going because I'm really excited because I want to finally have some emotes of my own. Because right now I'm kind of just using emotes that I found, and I want to get badges of my own. So, really excited. So just thought I'd mention that. And thank you, Taurus, for bringing Commoner back into the subscriber fold. Hello, Chinatown. So, readers, I've delayed in my introduction. How uncomely of me. My name's Ember, and we just have fun. A lot of times we react to interesting videos, and we can have very lengthy discussions about interesting topics of various natures. And
Cheer 100, we like to bully her.
yes, Stone Killer, you do. And right now we are checking out the top 5 rifles that changed the world. Ow. Itome.
Cheer 1000, oh, we all bully cat girls.
Thank you for the 1,000 biddies, Commoner. Hi, Matthias. Hello. So yes, we're watching the top 5 rifles. We missed, the first one was a French rifle. I'm blanking, I'm forgetting its name. We saw the Mauser 95, which is like the first, which is the basis for all bolt-action rifles today. And the Lebel. Thank you, Shanison. And now we are on to the M1 Garand, which of course is a very well-known rifle and is still being made to this day. The M1 Garand is still being made to this day and is very popular, and in fact I think gaining in popularity. I think the Garand is actually gaining popularity all over again. So that tells you just how iconic this weapon really is. And he's gonna go more in depth, like he's explaining what makes it so popular. Where do you say I want a new? I don't know. Yes, unfortunately, not legal in Canada, Kaibo. Unfortunately. I've pretty isn't the Garand the hang on. Hang on. Who's currently making
Chat, did you know with Amazon Prime you get a free Prime subscription each month to use on your favorite stream, so why not use it here and get in on billing the cat girl with us?
Thank you, Hackle. I think Springfield. Arms is probably the biggest manufacturer of the M1 Garand these days. So I'm guessing there's multiple manufacturers, but I think Springfield Arms is probably the biggest one. And if you're looking at your channel, goes in depth to forgot what I mean, people recommend all sorts of stuff to me. And I mean, like this was a recommend. So
our musical Garand's video to see more. So the M1 earned a spot on this list for ushering in the era of the military repeating rifle, and even forcing other nations to play catch-up. The M1 also became a symbol of a generation of Americans who soldiered on in World War II and into Korea, and that earns it a spot on the list.
Yeah, drowning most. Yeah, most people call it the M1 Garand. They forget the first A, and they don't pronounce it Garand. They just say the M1 Garand, not the M1 Garand. Yeah, I've heard that very commonly too.
Next up is a rifle that has to be
There we
included.
go.
The Automat Kalashnikova model of 1947, or the AK-47.
Eh,
The rifle you're looking at is more akin to an AKM, but that's all semantics. The venerable AK, like the Mauser before it, has become arguably universal and synonymous with fighting men the world over. The AK is held in very high regard by many people, but its simplicity is what makes it so amazing. The AK borrows heavily from other firearms, Browning designs such as the Model 8.
Well, and a big part of why the AK is one of the most iconic rifles is because it's very cheap to make, but it's also incredibly reliable. Like back during the days of the M16A1, the AK was more reliable than the M16A1. And not much has changed in its design. Incredibly simplistic in design, and you can put the thing through fucking hell and it will still keep shooting. It is one of the toughest fucking rifles you can get. I remember there was there used to be I think there was a show that used to be on like Spike TV. There was a guy, I think he was a former military guy, and he would like test all sorts of firearms. And he said his absolute favorite rifle in the whole world is the AK because it is simple, but it can basically go through anything and still keep functioning. And that's why his favorite was the AK. So yeah, I mean that is the one trade-off is there is some reliability issue. Sorry, not reliability, accuracy issues. It's not as accurate as say the M16 or the AR-15. Yeah, and no, I'm not talking about early Ermy. I know early Ermy. I wasn't talking about him. It was some other guy, and this was actually on like Spike TV. It's like a bald head guy. For the life of me, I can't remember his name.
The Garand's rotating bolt, and some say heavily from the STG-44. I personally do not believe it is a coincidence that the designer of the Sturmgewehr was scooped up by the Russians and forced to work for them after the war, and the final product is so similar in form to it. Regardless, the AK has earned an incredible place in history.
Do you,
It's
Robo?
easy to maintain,
Yeah.
easy to produce, cheap, well sealed.
Falcon, I don't know if he had brain cancer or not. I honestly don't know. Well, I've seen like clips of the show. I forget where I saw clips of the show like online or something. But like that, for the life of me, I forget his name. I think he might have been a former SEAL, but or maybe it was Army Special Forces. I forget which. And for the life of me, I cannot recall his name. Yeah, I think you're right. I think he may have been on Deadliest Warrior and Future Weapons. He was a SEAL. Okay, I knew he was either a SEAL or he was like Delta or Ranger or something. I cannot remember which it was.
And offers a lot of firepower in a compact package. If you grew up in the latter half of the 20th century, odds are you saw the AK every time you turned on the news.
Richard Makowitz. Okay, that's who I'm thinking of. Okay, Richard Makowitz. Thank you. For the life of me, I could not remember this guy's name. Cause it's been a while since I seen that video footage. But yeah, he said that the AK is his favorite weapon because of all those reasons I listed off. And he's like fired a lot of weapons.
You still do. The longevity of the design makes it deserving of a place on this list, right alongside its little brother, the AK-74. The 74's main difference is that it fires a smaller cartridge, the 545x39, that produces much less recoil and is very easy to control on full auto. Proliferation and the aforementioned factors earn the AK a very significant and well-deserved place on the list. Lastly, we have a rifle that just doesn't seem to age, the American M16. The M16 is an
Hopefully he's referring to the M16 as a whole and not the A1. Because I would argue it was not the M16A1 that changed the world, but the M16A2 that was really the instrument of change of the world. So I'm hoping he's just referring to the M16 in the M16 family. That's what I'm hoping. Yeah, Pactor, that's what I'm hoping. He's referring to the M16 family.
Outgrowth of the AR-10 and employs a number of borrowed features from other rifles that come together very well, just like Kalashnikov's AK. Most notably the bolt from the M1941 Johnson rifle and the inline stock and raised sights of the German FG-42. Armalite, as a division of an aerospace company, had access to very advanced materials not available to other designers like Kalashnikov. As a result, liberal uses of aluminum and polymers resulted in an impressively light design that became a symbol for American soldiers.
Based on
like
his
the
thumb,
Garand
that's a
before
well-oiled rifle.
The greatest legacy of the M16 is one that perhaps Stoner, the designer himself, did not realize.
Okay, this A2 must be pretty fucking old because look at that forward assist. I feel fairly confident that this foot on the forward assist has not been present for many years. Because every forward assist I've seen on an A2 has just been a circle at the end of the forward assist piston. It doesn't have this extra foot on it. So this must be a really freaking old A2 that he's showing right here to have this big of a forward assist foot.
The incredible modularity that ensures the design just will not go away. Like the Chevy small block, little tweaks and changes just keep ensuring that the rifle stays relevant.
Really, with this large
competitor to more modern platform.
This is what I'm used to seeing. Just like a small little flare, just a small little flare on the end of it, but not that elongated foot. Yeah, exactly, Shane-san. Yeah, that teardrop is that must have been old. Yeah, that must have been an old A2 that I saw. Like the A1, yes, I know it had the teardrop forward assist, but that A2 must have been like really old as well to have that teardrop on the forward assist.
In fact, small arms designers are struggling to create a rifle as light as an M16 derived gun and continuously fail to do so. As a result, nations once bound to other platforms are switching over to some form of the M16 rifle. On the civilian side, the AR-15 is unquestionably the best-selling rifle in the United States.
Falcon, is there a semi-auto A2? Actually, Falcon, yes. All M16s, like military M16s have two modes. They have semi-auto mode and they have burst fire mode. The A1s had the full auto. When the A2 came out, they eliminated the full auto option and instead changed to a burst fire mode. Because, for reasons that I'm aware of, is that soldiers were burning through magazines way too quickly. And they were burning through their ammo so fast because they would just squeeze the trigger and hold it down, and of course it's full auto, it burns through the entire mag in like 30 seconds or less. So, with the burst fire, yeah, pack drop, ammo conservation, and accuracy, less chance of jamming. And so all modern M16s have either semi-auto or burst fire, whereas civilian model AR-15s only have semi-auto. So a civilian model AR-15, which is a civilian model of an M16, is semi-auto only. You cannot purchase as a civilian, you cannot purchase a burst fire AR-15. They are illegal. Without special licensing, of course.
States, and it will almost certainly stay this way until a giant technological leap is made to match its modularity, affordability, universality, and I personally don't see this happening for a very long time. Anyways, thank you very much for watching this episode of TFB TV. Is there a gun you think should have been
Falcon?
included?
Well,
if so, state it in the
I'll wait till
comments
this
and I'd
ends.
love to hear your suggestions. Big thanks to Grizzly Target and Ventura Munitions for making this program possible. Also, if you like what you saw, hit that subscribe button. It really does help us out. Thanks, guys.
So, that was great. I did not know about the Troost bolt-action rifle. That is a new one for me, so I learned something on that one. I knew about the Mauser, I knew about of course, the M1 Garand, I knew about the AK, and of course I knew about the M16, but it was still fun reminiscing about them.